Welcome to Quick Bites. SimTheWorld here, making 5-star dishes in Cooking Simulator. Today, we're going to be tackling the chicken pumpkin stew with tomatoes. Now, if you've been following these episodes for a while, we've done the simple pumpkin stew, the regular pumpkin stew. This is the most advanced version. We're adding tomatoes to it. So follow along. Typically, I'll mention to use a stopwatch, have something on your phone ready. This recipe, you need something available. There's a lot of back and forth. So let's go ahead and get started. So to a paella pan, we're going to add 15 milliliters of sunflower oil and a chicken leg. It's nothing too big here. I think we said, 15 milliliters, so we'll taste that down. You can always click E. And it tastes 1 milliliter or 1 gram, depending. We got 15 milliliters in. Drop our chicken in flat, and this goes and cooks for 20 seconds. Let's let that get started. Got the heat at 20. Make sure that's off the heat and turned off. That way it won't keep cooking. Next, we're going to take a pumpkin, and we need 300 grams of pumpkin cut into 50-gram pieces, and that's added to the pan. So now this is difficult. Let's get the pumpkin in first, just the pieces here. We don't need the whole pumpkin in. Make sure to flatten this out just a little bit. You can give it a little bit of a shake. Don't dump it, though. I think all the pumpkin's kind of laid flat. I'm going to drop that chicken in. And everything should be heated for the pumpkin when you're slicing this. It's huge. It's, I think, 5 kilograms. So just take a hunk out of that. And we're going to get rid of the rest of that. And my advice, set it out flat. And just hack and slash it into a few chunks. See what gets close to 50, what you can use. Maybe you can use other chunks for other dishes. So like that 110, we can cut in half. And here's a 47-gram piece. I did stick around, 45 to 55-gram pieces for this. Use what you can. You can always discard the rest. The vegetables are cheap to buy. So all this is then going to fry for another 20 seconds. And cut the heat at 20 seconds. Next, we're going to cut a red bell pepper into 30-gram slices. We're going to add that to the pan with 5 grams of garlic. So it does list the garlic first, so I'm going to start with that. We're going to add this to the pan. Let's do 5 grams. And I think, I just spread that out. This is where it's a little, it doesn't explain as well. I just kind of drop it in. As for the red bell pepper, my advice when cutting this, I found that if you're looking for 30-gram pieces, I'll kind of slice it in half, let it drop. I'll slice that in half, and then each of those slices in half. So it looks like a giant mess, but you can get some pieces here that are close to 30 grams. Some are okay, some aren't. You can use what looks the best. But we're going to add this to the pan. I already had a few set aside here. Give this a little bit of a shake. Make sure it's flat. And this then fries for another 30 seconds. Make sure to use your stopwatch. This is getting tedious. And we cut the heat. That should be done. Last steps. We're getting through most of this here. Not to worry. We're going to slice an onion into quarters for 30-gram pieces. A tomato we're going to cut into 15-gram pieces. And, oh boy, we're going to add a lot to the pan here. So let me grab my ladle. I think everything's already here for me. I already sliced this. You got time in between all these cooking phases that you can get these sliced up. My advice also is to prep that a little bit beforehand. But we're going to need 200 milliliters of chicken broth. So to this, I'm just going to pour, some chicken broth into a bowl. And I'm going to ladle this in. That kind of keeps this all nice and happy. That was 150 milliliters. We'll do 50 milliliters here. And the rest we can kind of get rid of, along with our ladle. Perfect. Next, what we need is to add 10 grams smoked pepper. I believe we've got that here. Again, I'm just going to click it 10 times, let that go through, and there we go. 10 grams are in. We need 3 grams of salt. 1, 2, 3. And then in goes our onions and tomatoes. So I'm going to throw those in. Not going to be too picky about this. We'll give this a little bit of a mix. But with as much liquid as we have, I don't want to mix it too much. The chicken leg is what we're worried about cooking. That's what's going to get everyone sick. This boils for 60 seconds, so set a timer and we'll come back when that minute is up. And it has been 60 seconds now. Got that heat. It's time to assemble, so let me grab my ladle. So we're going to add the mixture into a deep plate. We're going to start with that. And we're going to add all 215 milliliters in. To this, we're going to add 10 milliliters of clarified butter. I'm going to be a little slow about this. Give this a try. We did 11. That shouldn't ding us too much. We should still be able to get our full score. 8 grams of starch goes in. Again, make sure you're pouring this into the bowl and it's just not pouring out of the canister. Sometimes they don't always correlate. Then to the bowl, we're going to add the onions, tomato, red bell pepper, pumpkin, and finally the chicken leg. Let's see if this all fits in. We've got the onion, the tomato, the red bell pepper, the pumpkin chunks. Oh boy, this bowl is getting unhappy. And finally the chicken on top. Oh. On top of this, we're going to garnish it with 10 grams of rosemary twig. Let's see if everything will stack here. And let's get this to the counter before it all explodes. What's the customer going to say? They're going to say 5 stars. It does look like there's a slight little issue there. Let's see. So heating mistakes on the tomatoes, very interesting. Those did boil. Perhaps they weren't flat enough in the pan or something like that. Not too sure because we did use a stopwatch and it timed fine. But the overall score, that's what's important. We did get the full 5 stars. We got all our fame points. So we should be good. And of course, as your skill points when you're in career mode, as you progress and unlock more, those tend to allow you to, they increase the tolerances of your cooking. So the cutting, you can do a little more variance in your cuts. Same with, they'll cover your mistakes. So it won't be as big of a deal as it is in my sandbox mode here. This is the worst case scenario. So hopefully this helped you. If you have any other questions, any dishes that you don't know how to get 5 stars, be sure to let me know those down in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching as I simulate my life one game at a time. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the future action. You can follow on Twitter for updates to future games being played, as well as follow on Twitch as I'll occasionally stream live. Thanks, and I'll see you next time at SimTheWorld.